Hey guys, it's BobBuster72 back again. I don't know if you can see next to me, but I have all of the knives from my knife reviews during my search for my perfect survival fixed blade knife. Now, I want to let you know what my criteria was when I was selecting my perfect knife. First off, it has to keep its edge. It needs to be able to cut line, gut a fish, take care of things like that around the camp or on a hike or in a survival situation. It also needs to be able to chop wood. And then I need to be able to go back and still use it in those slicing type actions like gutting a fish. It needs to have a little bit of heft to it, but I don't want it to be too heavy. I also might need to dig with it or use it as a hammer. Things like that. So it needs to be a little bit rugged, have a little bit of weight, but not too much. So I'm going to show all of these and maybe tell a little bit about them in no particular order here. Alright, with this one we have the Gerber LMF 2. The Gerber LMF 2, this one is infantry green. It had really good retention if you remember. It has some good grip if you remember. As far as chopping goes, it did a decent job, but the finish, I don't know if you can tell, didn't really hold up to it very well. It also had one of the most thought out sheath designs that included a sharpener. This is the OKA Knife and Tool Big Squeeze. The OKA Big Squeeze is a dive knife. It's really lightweight and made out of titanium, but it didn't have much of an edge at all from the factory. It's a great idea and it might be great for a dive knife, but a survival knife it is definitely not. Here we have the Schrade SCHF10. The Schrade SCHF10 was a big surprise. This is actually one of the cheaper knives during my reviews, and it turned out to be one of the better ones. It has a full tang, a really great ergonomic handle, some decent mass to it, and a very sharp blade that retains its edge. The only drawback is this piece of junk sheath. This is the Probus M9 bayonet. The M9 bayonet. This thing is definitely a classic. It has a very beefy blade. It has a built-in wire cutter. It also has a sharpener. But the real drawback is it doesn't have a full tang. Here we have the Mission MPK10A2. The Mission MPK10A2 is the steel version of their titanium knife. It has a molded on handle. It does have a full tang under there. This knife has some really good mass to it. It kept its edge really well, and it's a very handy knife. Here we have the Becker BK3 TAC tool. The Becker BK3 TAC tool, it's got a very unusual design. This thing is very heavy and is a monster when it comes to chopping. However, I don't think that it would do very good at gutting a fish. Can you imagine trying doing that with this thing? This is the Reeve Green Beret. The Reeve Green Beret knife is my go-to knife for deployments. I really like this knife a lot. This thing has excellent ergonomics on the canvas micarta handle. It has great balance, a great blade that keeps its edge. Again, major drawback has got to be the price. This is the Mission MPK12 Titanium. I tested two Mission knives, and this was actually the first one. This one is the MPK12 Titanium. This knife is a fantastic knife. It holds its edge really well. This is super lightweight. It's very deceiving by the size of this how lightweight it really is. But because of that, it doesn't handle chopping quite as well as the MPK10A2 version. The SOG Seal Pup was a big surprise to me. I was actually surprised at how much I liked this knife. This may not be the perfect knife for survival. It just doesn't have the mass to do a lot of chopping. But if you are looking for a knife for your go bag for a young adult, say in the 10 to 15-year-old range, this might be perfect for them. And finally, we have the Columbia River Knife and Tool M60 SOT-FB. The Columbia River Knife and Tool M60 SOT-FB. That's a mouthful to talk about, but it's a fairly decent knife. It's kind of short in the blade, and it has a little bit of a forward recurve to it that is a little unusual for chopping. It does slicing very well. Again, this might be more for a young adult. Alright, so I figured I really needed to narrow this down. I actually narrowed it down to 3 blades that I'm really pleased with. So let me tell you about them and why I chose them to be on the list. And I do pick one, I promise. I promise. First off, the Schrade SCHF10. As I said, this was a huge surprise to me. If you were on a budget, there is nothing at all wrong with this knife. This knife is a fantastic blade, keeps its edge really well. The one issue that you might run into is sharpening this slight recurve in the field. It would be a little bit difficult, but I think if you plan ahead and you have a sharpener that can handle that kind of thing, you'll be set. My budget pick, definitely the Schrade SCHF10. My dream pick, the price is no object, has got to be the Reeve Green Beret. This knife is amazing. It's got a really long blade to it. It's perfect for chopping. It still does slicing very well. It's got a good look to it, good feel to it, and good balance. But the price keeps it out of my #1 spot. So are you guys ready for my #1 pick? Here it is. This is the Mission MPK10 A2. This one is A2 steel, and this thing is fantastic. It's got good feel to it. It's actually got some pretty good grip on it. My pick for my perfect fixed blade knife, the knife I'm going to be putting in my kit, the Mission MPK10 A2. Please let me know what your pick is for your perfect fixed blade knife. If you like this video, please subscribe, and if you don't, screw off. Maybe that's a little too harsh. Anyway guys, I don't even know what to say here. I don't know. If you like the video, subscribe. Whatever, man. If you don't, well, why are you still watching even if you don't like the video? I mean, seriously, you wouldn't even make it this far. My pick, if money were no object, is the Reeve Green Beret knife, and I just about sliced my finger off with a really sharp knife. If you didn't like the video, why are you still watching? So kids, let this be a lesson to you. You don't want to end up like me. What the heck does SOTFB mean anyway? I mean, that's just too much. Oh, almost forgot. Till next time, take care and be safe.